Nigeria's headline inflation rate quickened to a new 18-year high of 26.72% in September, marking a 0.92% increase from the previous month's 25.80% on the back of higher food prices and soft drinks. According to the latest inflation report released by the Nigerian Bureau of Statistics on Monday, the inflation rose to the ninth straight month to 26.72% from 0.80 in the previous month. Food inflation rate, which constitutes more than 50% of the general inflation rate, quickened to 30.64% in September from 29.34% in the previous month. Now, joining me live on the news, it's Segun Sopitan to discuss this development further. A warm welcome to you, Mr. Sopitan, and thanks for joining us on News Central Now.
Thanks for having me. Good afternoon.
Yes, Mr. Sopitan, what do you make of this never-ending ballooning inflation rate, and what effects will it have on the ordinary Nigerian?
Well, I mean, the impact on the ordinary Nigerian is very simple. It's that we are losing value. Value is being destroyed on a month-on-month basis. So what I mean by that, if you had the 1 million naira last year, the 1 million naira is roughly about 700,000 naira today, going by official figures. So in terms of what you're able to do with the money in your pocket, your purchasing power is reducing, the ability to buy goods and services that you need for your day-to-day, activities and livelihood is reducing. And that's what it is. It's as simple as that. And unfortunately, it's happening at pretty much an alarming rate, and it's spiraling upwards consistently. And it does look as if hitting 30% is only a matter of when now, and not if. And it's not good enough at all.
Now, Mr. Sopitan, the laws of physics say anything that goes up must go down, but I don't know if it applies to economics. Is there anything the Nigerian government can do in the interim to, stem this tide of inflation? Because when you look at statistics and findings, a huge number of Nigerian households spend at least a quarter of their income on food, if not more than that. So what stopgap measures are there for the federal government to halt this ballooning inflation? Because salaries aren't going up, but the price of commodity and every other thing is going up. What can they do to halt it, or even reverse this inflationary pressure on the economy?
I think it's important to note that inflation, especially in this instance, in the instance of Nigeria at this particular point in our history, is basically a referendum on the performance of a government. And it's a referendum on the performance of this administration and the policies that they have pursued since they came on board about 4 months ago. We warned, you will recall, Gbenga, that I was on your show many times, and I've been on several other public platforms, warning against, the removal of subsidies, and maybe to a certain degree also the unification of the exchange rate. Those policies in themselves are not bad, but if you pursue them, to the exclusion of certain things that you must put in place before you do them, what we're seeing now is inevitable. It's not rocket science. It's just basic common sense. This was inevitable. It was always going to happen. So to say what can be done, can it be reversed? I'm afraid the answer is no. There is nothing in the short term that this government can do to stem the tide of this inflation. Nothing.
Did they not envisage this happening when they took this really big measures of fuel subsidy removal and also floating the naira? It was bound to happen. Did they not prepare for the day after? And also, Mr. Sopitan, the current administration led by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is also facing a trifecta of economic challenges: rising inflation, debt management, a forex crisis. What strategies should be considered to navigate this complex economic landscape? Because you are looking at the glass half empty. You're not very optimistic about projections for the future. So what could be done?
Well, to answer the first question, did they not see this coming? I think, everybody that understands basic economics warned about the inflationary trend, and the response from people in support of this policy and government spokespeople at that time was that it was only going to be temporary, that it would be a natural reaction and then it would adjust down within a matter of months. Well, hello, this is 4 months later, it's not adjusting downwards. Well, in terms of what can be done, to just deal with the plethora of economic woes that we find ourselves facing now, again, I'm afraid there are no quick wins, sadly, because what we've done is that we've put the cart in front of the horse. I always use that imagery to show how ridiculous the things that we have done as a country are. We put the cart in front of the horse, we've tied the horse to the back of the cart, and we're flogging the cart and asking the cart to drag the horse. It makes no sense. So the solutions to these things will come, but they will happen in 2 years, in 3 years, maybe in 10 years, because a lot of the things that need to happen to reverse these trends are long term. You need to, for example, on the food situation, you have to fix security on the one hand, because there is an insecurity problem that is driving food prices upwards, in addition to the exchange rate devaluation, and in addition to the astronomical rise in the cost of fueling, energy, and transportation. So these things are not things you can reverse, in the immediate terms. Of course, if the government chooses to, they can actually reverse these policies. They've made pronouncements and they can make subsequent pronouncements to say, what, we're bringing subsidies back. But I know they will not do that because they are pandering to the dictates of multilateral international agencies, World Bank, IMF. Yes, they have even said so. Minister Wale Edun actually said so, in his briefing, after the executive meeting on Monday. So they're not going to reverse themselves, which means Nigerians will need to prepare for a very rough, long ride. Inflation is going to hit 30% before the end of this year, and it's going to get worse next year. Exchange rates are going to continue to go higher, and we may see, 1,200, 1,500 rates on the parallel market until if some of the investments that need to happen in infrastructure and in social services do happen, and then their impacts begin to kick in. So in the interim, there are no short-term fixes, I'm afraid.
Thank you very much for that huge reality check, Mr. Segun Sopitan. We do appreciate your frankness and your candor. Always a pleasure speaking with you. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.